Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? So, as promised, today we're going to take a little look at the legendary crafting system. We're going to have a look at how it works, how you get the necessary components to craft your legendary items, and things that are changing and might change in the future, and a couple of other bits and pieces as well. So, let's jump in and take a little look. Okay, legendary crafting. So, before we start, I should point out we are on the PTS today, so this video will be relatively story spoiler free, but obviously we are looking at unreleased content. Things are subject to change, and will likely be getting updated over the next couple of months before Steel Rain drops. It's likely going to be the end of next month for that one, so a little bit of progress still to be made on a number of things, but we'll cover those as we come to them. So, first things first, speaking of things that are changing, we have an update to Legendary Crafting that came at the back end of last week. There are a few other bug fixes as well, but that's what you'd expect on the PTS. And they have updated a couple of things here. So, firstly, the big thing is previously there were different star graded of legendary cores. So you could get either a 1-star, a 2-star, or a 3-star legendary core, and you'd use the appropriate one to craft with. Now they have removed that, as players suggested and Bethesda clearly agree, that having star-rated legendary cores is not the most practical way of doing things. So the way it works now is that you have a singular type legendary core, and you use multiples to craft the different levels of legendary items. So let's head on inside to the camp that Bethesda have provided for us, and we'll have a look at this in a little bit more detail. Okay, so here we go. I should say for the record, this is not my camp. This is the one Bethesda just built and provided on this character. This particular character is a pre-made one that is designed to have a wodge of legendary cores so you can test out the system. So, it seemed like a sensible way of doing this. So let's actually have a look at this. We're going to jump in. First thing, I'm going to need a weapon to actually make legendary. So, let's go with a personal favourite of mine. There's a handmade. Level 15 will do. Don't need to waste too many materials on that. We'll swap over to the modify. So, here's the one we've just crafted. There's a couple of other bits from testing earlier. So, we open it up, and we see we have no legendary mods right now, or any other kind of mods on there, really. So, we open up this one. This will normally appear on a legendary item, but it'll list the legendary mod type. So, this is where the update is coming. So, we open it up, and as you can see, we now have the options to craft either a 1, 2, or 3-star legendary mods. So looking over at the requirements on the right, for crafting a 1-star legendary mod, you need 1 legendary core. These you pick up from the purveyor in return for scrip, so you'll have to head down and buy those. And you need 2 legendary modules. That's to craft the 1-star legendary item. So to make an item 2-star, you will need 3 legendary cores and 3 legendary modules. And to create a 3-star, you will need 5 legendary cores and 4 legendary modules at the moment. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say this is almost certainly going to get changed. The number of items you will need will change. Partly because they'll want to fine-tune the grinding involved, and partly because I'm guessing somewhere along the lines something is not quite the way it's intended to be. But for now, that's what we've got. So the legendary cores, as I say, you get from Purveyor Myrmidon. You have to head down there and buy them for legendary scrip. But if you want legendary modules, you pick those up from either completing daily ops, from completing public events, so those are the ones that appear with the little exclamation mark in them, or by completing seasonal events like, for example, Fashion Act Parade or Meat Week. Now, for those events that have tiers of success, daily ops do have tiers of success. For example, you can either do it at Initiate, Paladin, or Elder rank. Don't know if that's necessarily the best example, but take that and apply that principle to regular events, and it works there. That will affect how many legendary cores, legendary modules rather, you get. So the greater your success at a given event, the more legendary modules will drop. As it currently stands, I was hoping to have some footage of that occurring, but for whatever reason, either I didn't get any, or because I already had some, it just added it to the pile, so I couldn't show it very clearly. But obviously still a little bit of work needs doing here. We've still got 2 months, as I say, on the PTS before this goes live, so I'd imagine changes will occur. The basic system, however, I suspect will be pretty much as it is now. So, as you can see, here's our standard handmade right now. If I want to make it a 1-star, click on the 1-star legendary mod. It's going to cost me 2 modules and 1 core. We make it. Boom, there we go. Nice little new animation up there. As we can see, we now have a junky short handmade, so that's not too terrible as the first roll goes. So if I wanted to make it 3-star, I can just simply do the same thing on there. It will use 4 modules and 5 cores. Boom, there we go. So we've got an aristocrat swarm. That's actually not a bad drop looking at it. Replenish AP with each kill. If you're using VATs, that's pretty cool. Damage increases as your caps increase. So as if you've got more than 29,000, that's potentially up to a 50% extra damage. So this could actually dish out a fair bit of punishment. This is not a bad roll. If I wasn't happy with it and I wanted to re-roll, just click the same one you had before. So in this case, we want to re-roll all 3. We just do the same thing again, and we have a really bad roll in this particular case. There's the RNG for you. Same thing applies with the other ones as well. If you wanted to downgrade, you can simply select one of the others, and we could downgrade it back to a 1-star, for example. Just like that, simple as. Not entirely sure why you'd want to do that myself. Possibly if you don't have a particularly good roll and you don't have enough cores or modules to roll one of the higher ones, or you want to get a few more bites of the apple perhaps. That 3rd star is usually the least valuable one. Usually, sometimes you do get pretty good stuff on there. But there we go. So that is basically how it works. You cannot lock in any particular legendary effects at the moment, and I doubt Bethesda will add that. I think they will want to maintain an element of RNG, because they don't want people just immediately getting those ultra powerful weapons and armour. They want you to work towards it. So I suspect you will have to roll a whole lot and hope for the best. And I reckon that will probably come through to the final version as well, which I know is not to everybody's taste and definitely increases the RNG a little bit, but as I will discuss in just a moment, this does significantly decrease the RNG as it currently stands in the game. Okay, so for armour, basically the same thing. Head in here. I don't have any armour going on at the moment, so let's just craft a covert chest piece, because why not? First thing on the list. Armour condition degrades as you take damage. Really? You don't say. So, there's our covert scout armour chest piece. These are dropping from daily ops at the moment, if you are curious. So this is actually a little bit different from weapons. Weapons require more legendary modules than armour do, from the look of it. So we've got 1 and 1, 3 and 2, and 5 and 3 for armour, whereas weapons, as we saw just before, require a little bit more. So, as per usual, you want to roll a 1-star, just like that. The improved stealth is a little bit deceptive because it's effectively a legendary effect that's already on the armour because I'm rolling covert scout armour, so we can kind of disregard that. The same thing will basically apply if you're doing a fixer as well, obviously, because it's kind of, even a non-legendary fixer is effectively a 2-star weapon, so you'd effectively be getting 5 stars if you roll a 3-star, but that's much as it currently is anyway. So if we went up to a 3-star here, we should effectively have 4 stars on this. There you go, effectively 4 stars. Not too shabby. And again, if you wanted to reduce it or re-roll it, you can just roll it once again like that. Not a bad roll. So jumping back out of there, obviously weapons armour requiring different numbers of cores and modules for the moment. As I say, if anything is going to change over the next couple of months, I think that's probably going to be it. So keep an eye on that going forward, but beyond that I would imagine the basic premise, the basic functionality of the system will be the same. So one last thing I did want to discuss before we wrap up is online I have seen some suggestions regarding the number of possible combinations that are somewhat wide of the mark. So the number I've seen going around online is that there are 30,000 possible combinations to roll. That's not the case, or at least not with the legendary crafting system. If you go to the purveyor and go for a 3-star ranged weapon, for example, then it possibly is that high, as you could get any ranged weapon with any combination of legendary effects. With the legendary crafting system, it dials it in a lot more, so you're only rolling a specific weapon, and it's just the attributes that change, which dramatically decreases the number of possibilities, which is the idea behind the legendary crafting system. Obviously, they're not going to remove the RNG altogether. Clearly, this system is designed to maintain at least some of that, but it does mean that you'll have to roll a lot less possibilities. The numbers are closer to around and about 5,000 or 6,000 possibilities for armor, which is where it currently is. That's not a big surprise. Obviously, that's probably one of the reasons why the crafting costs are a bit lower for armor than they are for weapons, because there are that many possible combinations. So, not ideal there, but for weapons, numbers are significantly lower. They are much closer to around about the 1,000 mark. So, again, compared to the potential, if you're rolling at the purveyor for multiple combinations, then that's a massive tightening of the RNG. Obviously, the idea is still to have you work towards your desired gear rather than just handing it to you on a plate, but I thought I'd just clear up some of the misinformation that is floating around there. This is a significant improvement, and it is nowhere near as extreme a set of RNG as either at the purveyor or has been suggested online, so worth bearing that in mind. As I say, I think numbers are probably going to change over the coming weeks, but at its core I think the system will basically remain the same, so definitely looking cool there, and definitely going to tighten things up. It gives us something to work towards. As I say, dropping legendary cores I think still needs a little bit of polish, but that is what the PTS is for. Hopefully that will get cleaned up as time goes on and should significantly improve, but watch out for that. Hopefully I'll be able to bring you any updates as we get them, so watch the space on that. So, I think that covers all the salient points that relate to legendary crafting, so I'll say thank you very much for watching for now. I do hope you found this useful and informative. If you did, please consider dropping subs and likes for me. It is hugely appreciated, very, very much helps out. Down below the video you can find social media links, merch store and channel memberships as well if you're interested in supporting the channel that way. I very, very much appreciate it. Massive thanks to everybody who's done that. It really, really helps out. And if you get a chance to join us for live streams as well, we are of course playing Fallout 76 and playing Mass Effect 2 as well at the moment, having a lot of fun with that. So I do hope you'll join us for the live streams as well. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.